Hello everyone and welcome back to Sudden Wealth. I hope you guys are doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. It's the only thing that I ask, and best of it is free. So today, let's go straight into it. The ECB cut rates again to another 25 basis points, so that makes a total of 75 basis points. The euro sold off quite a bit against the dollar, as it's to be expected in situations like this. This has been driven, and I do think we're still going to have further rate cuts this year because basically the growth estimates for the entire Eurozone has been dropped to 0.8%, and the inflation has completely collapsed as rates got cut. I mean, I remember a certain YouTube channel talking about it, that when the rate cuts started, that people would be shocked how fast inflation comes down, because all these economists are telling them that if interest rates go up, that's how you fight inflation, right? Because if interest rates come down, then everybody is, getting money and spending money, so inflation goes back up. Oh, surprise, surprise, inflation has been dropping like a rock, and in the Eurozone is now 1.8%, so well within the 2% target. And I can tell you that when the US starts cutting rates more aggressively, all of a sudden the US inflation will come below 2%, and everybody's going to be super shocked, except you guys, because you follow this channel and you know exactly that printing money and lowering rates has nothing to do with inflation. Actually, it helps inflation coming down, because interest rates are nothing more than the cost of money. If the cost of money goes up, then the companies will pass that cost to people like you and me. But why doesn't it create inflation? I don't understand. I thought that everybody was getting money, right? No. 80% of the developed world is over-indebted already. They have several mortgages, personal loans, credit card loans, car loans, student loans, you name it, they have it. Which means that if interest rates are 0% and they go to the bank and say, hey, can you lend me 100K? The bank tells them to F off. But of course, if Bill Gates goes there and asks for $100 million at 1%, he's going to get it. But that doesn't create your CPI inflation. It creates the inflation that we like if we are holding assets, which is asset price inflation, or as I call it, currency debasement. That's it. So what further evidence do I have of this? I don't know. Canada has been cutting rates. Inflation dropped like a rock. UK has been cutting rates. Inflation dropped like a rock. I don't know. Call me crazy, but it seems to be a very clear signal. By the way, China's been cutting rates like there's no tomorrow, and they actually had deflation last year and the beginning of this year. But I thought that Peter Schiff told me that that's going to be impossible. They're going to turn into Argentina, and actually they didn't. Do you know how I knew that? Well, this is something that you end up learning after 30 years of Japan doing this, after 15 years of the US doing it, or 15, no, let's say 13 years of the US doing it, of Europe doing it, of Korea doing it, of Japan doing it, of China doing it. Shall I continue? I think it's pretty clear, right? I think inflation in Italy, for example, is around 0.7%. And inflation in Spain is like 1.4%. Of course, there's nothing to do with the interest rates. Actually, interest rates, if they come down, they will help inflation to go away. And that's going to be, I don't know why, but it's going to be the surprise of the town once again. Now, this basically, I think it's pretty clear that the other central banks will continue. Once again, we have too much debt in the system, so we cannot have high interest rates. Now, speaking in depth of debt, TLT has retraced back to its support level at 93.70. As I've told you, I don't like this. I don't like these big moves in bonds, particularly to the downside, because it creates quite the instability. You often don't see it immediately, but you see it, over the next few days, few weeks, or maybe a week. If bonds continue like this, obviously, if they stop here, as I hope they do, and they continue higher, also not too high, right? You want them to move, at a slow, steady pace to the upside. then the markets stabilize much better. But you don't want to see many days of negative 1.5% or 2% in bonds. That's not great. And eventually, all the risk assets pay the price. And we just had quite the run on several risk assets, including the stock market, including crypto, right? So be mindful that we are entering a stage where we can have some, bigger red days here and there. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world, but we are getting to the point where we were going up too fast, too quick. We're going up not too fast, too quick. What am I saying? Too fast, but it also, quite the big moves. We need some time to breathe, some time to cool off, particularly in the stock market. The crypto market has been subdued for quite a bit. Maybe it can move a little bit outside of everybody else, but keep that in mind. I imagine that Peter Schiff's going to be extremely happy today because gold is approaching $2,700. And to him, this should be great, right? Because obviously he won't tell you this, but if gold hits 2,725 or so, then you just made a new all-time high in real terms, meaning adjusted for inflation, since 2011. Congratulations, you only had to wait 13 years. Actually, you don't make it for two reasons. Number one, we all know that CPI is kind of BS. But even if it's not, let's say it's not, if you adjust for money supply increase, then gold is really far from making a new all-time high. Then if you look at the 1980s, you're talking about, using government data, you're talking about $3,400 for a new all-time high adjusted for inflation versus the top in the 1980s. And that, once again, does not include money supply increases. I'm just talking about your CPI numbers that the government puts out. But in any case, speaking about more interesting things, Bitcoin is holding somewhere between 66, 67,000. I actually saw a channel saying Bitcoin crashes to 67. So this is where we are now for the clickbait, okay? So a drop from 68 to 67 is a crash. This is how, guys, we know you've been here in the channel for a long time. You know how these things go. You know that these people need to put out content like this, and tomorrow it's everything is great, and then the next day the world is ending, and it's like a windshield wiper, right? It is what it is. But what is important also to say, and I'm very happy, is Hoppy, one of my lottery tickets, has surpassed the 100 million market cap. Very happy. As you guys know, I got in on that one around the million market cap. So another big success on the lottery tickets. And Andy is sitting well at 150 million. And for the newcomers here in the channel, for the Boppy army, right? Because ever since I disclosed that I was in Boppy, that was 3 days ago, 14th of October. Check that video. I got in that coin at 608. I said yesterday 610. I was wrong. It was 608,000 market cap, and it's currently at 1.7 million after 3 days. And actually, sometime this day it was at 2.4 million. Now, one of the reasons why I like that coin so much is obviously it has a very strong narrative. The Mad Fury tokens, meaning the Andy, the Pepe, the Draghi, all of the above. Then it was the only on the Ethereum chain that I've seen. This is very important. One of the reasons I kept away from Landwolf was, I made a bit of money with Landwolf, actually, the one that saw me, as mentioned, the 0615 address. But the reason why I didn't like it is because there are so many of them. Same thing with Brett on Ethereum. Same thing. Too many of them. Start to get confusing, man. Andy was just one. Easy. Hoppy was just one. Easy. Boppy is just one. Easy. Matt Fury is just one. 0x79 is just one. Easy. So I try to, kind of go around like this. I have to say that the community has been very engaging. I don't know how they know that I post a video about it. But immediately after I post, I have like 30 comments from the community. But this is something you want to see. That coin went down something like 95-6%. I think at the lowest it was below 100K market cap, which is quite remarkable. And it came back. That means that the community that is left are a bunch of lunatics, which is great, by the way. This is a compliment. I think that's great. You need lunatics, you need cults, you need people really believing that we're going to go to billions. You really need that, and that's something that you always look for, at least I look for, in lottery tickets. So currently it's still sitting at a low market cap, in my view, of 1.6, 1.7 million. Where can it go? I mean, it's very hard to say. Can it go to billions? I mean, sure. I mean, anything is possible. Should I be, holding 100% of my coins until it reaches billions? Probably not a very smart idea. So I will need to think about how to deal with it. But to me, I always use the same kind of metrics on this one, which is, are we in 2025? No. Are the number of users going up? Yes. Are the number of Telegram users going up? This one is less important. But are they active? Are they an active community? Yes. Is Pepe, do I think Pepe will go close to 100 billion market cap? Maybe. I think it can be the next Doge in the full fledged of the bull market. And Pepe brings everything up on this narrative. And Ethereum is still half its all-time highs, which means that Hoppy is hitting new all-time highs. Boppy is recovering and hit a new all-time high today. Andy is around half of its all-time high. And Ethereum is still underperforming. So what's going to happen when Ethereum outperforms? That's a good question. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be quite funny. I'm seeing more and more people against Ethereum. So this trend is definitely continuing, which to me is great. I want them to see very much against Ethereum. I don't want anybody on the Ethereum side. I want Ethereum to catch everybody off guard once again. So then I will have a lot of fun listening to these people and listen to the kind of excuses that they're going to come up with. I think it's going to be priceless. And there was a question yesterday, by the way, that I wanted to address this, which was, there was a person mentioning, but doesn't Ethereum have very high fees? So basically, MEMECOINS will not be as good as other chains, right? That's actually the opposite. Now, this is a good example of how people get this backwards. See? One of the issues with Solana is it's so cheap that people literally give up on coins in one day. So basically they buy a coin, if it doesn't pump in 6 hours, they're out. So they completely jit their bags back and forth constantly. And there's absolutely no loyalty. It's a complete, maybe you catch a dog with that. Maybe you catch one of the 1,000 ones that get rug pulled. I've seen people doing rug pulls in Solana for $10,000, $6,000. I've seen, people just, going in and out of all these coins in sometimes I think I'm being benevolent saying 24 hours. I think probably some of them don't even last 6 hours. And in Ethereum, it actually forces you to be more disciplined with the coins that you pick, because you pay, well, not just the money that you invest, but also the fees that you're paying, right? And all the richest wallets in the ecosystems typically sit on Ethereum. So when they decide to move, they move, the equivalent of thousands of people, one or two wallets, right? So once again, I think that the fact that Ethereum ends up with high gas fees actually creates some level of loyalty and some level of discipline that you don't see necessarily in other chains. Now, am I trashing Solana? Do I hope Solana goes down? No. I've said this many times before. I don't believe in this tribalism, right? Like, in order for my coins to succeed, everything else needs to crash, right? I really don't believe it. I think the better the ecosystems in general do, the more liquidity and money they attract into the space, which means it ends up flowing in more places. The reality is, everybody was expecting Bitcoin to drop as new coins were being created. The reality, Bitcoin has made continuously new all-time highs. So that story goes away. Once again, people always always get it backwards. You see? It's like saying, the stock market is adding another stock. This is terrible because now they're going to... No. The more stocks you have, the more liquidity you'll attract to the ecosystem, and the flows, the movements of money, will eventually lead to several ecosystems coming and doing very, very well. Obviously, not all of them at the same time, but we'll see. And I know that there's this Memecoin Supercycle theory coming out. I mean, maybe. Who knows? Right? We have something different every cycle. Will it be a Memecoin Supercycle? I mean, if you ask me, did I expect to have a lottery ticket going up 100-fold and basically making a new all-time high in a red market day with Ethereum at half the price, half the all-time high? If you tell me that a year ago, I'd probably tell you, yeah, you know, sure. I'd probably, think that you belong in a mental institution. But here I am, completely bamboozled and very happy with the situation, right? So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see at the end. I mean, I see the appeal of meme coins. I see why people like it. I see the narratives, avoiding VCs, all of that. I see all of it. I try to keep, in things that I know a bit better around, the frog coins and the Matt Fury narratives. And then I have a little bit of principles that I like to follow. Good community, coming back from, Undertaker style, coming back from, from complete destruction. Those things to me, are they competing with 10 coins? Is exactly the same. This kind of stuff. So to me, those things matter more than matter a lot. And then I like Ethereum, not because I'm an Ethereum fanboy or anything like that, but because I think Ethereum has underperformed, which means if I find coins that are performing, if I find good coins in Ethereum, and they actually end up performing well, like Hoppy, Handy, and Boppy, and we are with Ethereum at these low prices, then I am allowed to dream what's going to happen when Ethereum is $10,000, right? I think it's a good question. What if Ethereum goes to $25,000 to $25,000, which is my target? What's going to happen with this? I have no idea. That's why it's so exciting. So we'll see what's going to happen. As you guys know, I have my risk mitigation techniques. Once I get a 5x, I take out my principal and some profit, and then I relax. I give it a go. See what happens. See how much it can surprise me. And with that, still excited for 7G. Also on PulseChain, should be coming out now imminently. Crypto 7 mentioned that's going to come out before the end of the year. So I'm actually quite interested to see what's going to happen. I'll give you an example in PulseChain, by the way. Pulse launch has been getting a lot of hate because, and it's true, the launch was not smooth. And then it's a launch pad, meaning they become very popular when the cycle is hot. And a lot of projects are coming almost on a weekly basis. So they fell out of grace with pretty much everyone. But I get the feeling that when we start to hit up the market a little bit, when Bitcoin crosses the 80,000 level, etc., I think that project actually has some very good potential to do very well. Can it go to zero and I will lose my, $1,250 or whatever I have in that? Is it a big deal? No. What if it does 100x? Great, right? That's the point. And yeah, still think PulseChain, PulseXX, incentive token, icosahedron will do very well. It's actually quite funny. This is very important for people to understand the difference between what they think and then what ends up happening, okay? So here it goes. If you went back in time and you ask people, which coin do you think before the PulseChain came out, which coin will do the worst? Everybody will tell you incentive token. Which one did the best? Incentive token. Which one did the worst so far? X. So which one were people thinking that's going to pump the hardest now? People thought incentive token. Which coin did they think was going to pump the least? X. Which one has pumped the hardest? X. Which one has pumped the least? Incentive token. The complete opposite. And now I see, in the beginning everyone was very against PulseX, but now PulseX is outperforming Pulse, which means now that Pulse is being kind of the unwanted adopted kid or whatever. I mean, you get the point, right? The middle child, let's say, right? There's middle people who are middle child feel that they're always neglected, let's say. I get the feeling that we're going to enter a phase, not necessarily now, where Pulse will outperform everything out of PulseChain, PulseX. Why? because it's the one that has pumped the least and it's the one that has the lowest expectations of people. That's important, because if everyone expects X to do better, then everyone will be positioned for X. If everyone thinks PulseX will do better, so they will position for PulseX, and they will be under position for Pulse. So then Pulse ends up doing the best, so it catches the most market players off guard. That's it. There's no big conspiracy theories, just how markets work. And with that, guys, thank you very much for your support. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Congratulations, Boppy Army, crossing that even 2 million and 0.4 market cap. Let's hope that can continue. As you guys know, I'm a big supporter here in the sidelines. I'm a believer. If you guys go to billions, I'll throw a big party here in the channel, of course. With that, thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next one.